I relied on phrases I memorized at the children's home.
Yo!
And now for something completely different.
So, everyone taking stupid pills around here?
What I do is I look a woman up and down and I say,
I'm coming to join you, bitch!
Oh, is that too far?
Oh, you want to get into things?
Well, I mean...
No. Let's get into things. Let's get real. Everybody, Bojack wants to get real. Cancel the bubble round, because we're getting real.
Welcome, everyone, to No Time to Binge, the Scene Snob award-winning best comedy podcast, best pop culture podcast, and podcast of the year 2022. Yeah, hell yeah. If this is your first time joining us, this is a podcast where we watch the first and the last episode of a television show, and then we pretend like we watched the whole thing and we discuss it. Today we are talking about, wow, I'm so glad that I get to host this episode because I'm really excited to talk about this cultural touchstone of a show, Kyle XY. I mean, this is probably my third or fourth rewatch of the entire series this year. I'm very excited. Kyle XY Con is in 2 months. I think all four of us are getting together down there, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're meeting
I'm
down there.
cosplaying.
I mean, we got to represent Generation XY.
Yeah. I mean, I got my belly button removed for it. It's gonna be fantastic.
Oh wow. I just filled mine in.
Oh, so you're a Kyle XY weeb.
I'm a weekender. What can I say?
Yeah, he's new to the scene.
Yeah. All right. That's all right. Well, I'm glad. At least we're all fans of this show here. So what we're gonna do is we are going to start talking about the first episode. We'll talk about the last episode, and then we'll let everyone know exactly how we got there. It's a wild ride. This show has been so tumultuous with studios and networks and all that, the actor problems, but we'll get into all of that. Right now we're gonna see if we can sum up this first episode. So does anyone want to tell me exactly the way that they interpreted the first episode, because it is open to interpretation?
Yeah, I'll go first if that's okay. I took this. Has anyone seen the movie Airborne?
Yes.
To me, this was Airborne, but instead of surfing, it was having a belly button and understanding humans. They wanted to fit in, can't really fit in. Got to get back to surfing. Yeah, it's just it's a fish out of water tale, and parents are taking in this lackluster fake Superman, and they keep staring at his belly.
Yes, I did notice the very, very close similarities to Smallville's Superman and Kyle XY.
Yeah,
at least in the looks department.
No tights, no flights. That's how that's what it is. Kyle XY, no tights, no flights.
So we got Airborne in television show form, with understanding humans instead of surfing. B, did you have a different interpretation of this first episode?
Rather than go through scene by scene and what happened, I want to tell you my emotional journey, right?
Perfect.
So right off the bat, he's kind of like laying on the ground, and it's a very like serene environment. It's like a forest, and then it's like, oh, okay, this kid's just kind of naked in the woods, and I'm first kind of like concerned. I'm like wondering if this is like a someone should call the police kind of scenario where like, yeah. And then he just wanders around naked, and it was kind of horrifying. Pretty much from here on, the only emotion I can really say that I had was the feeling of myself cringing out of my skin, just scene by scene. This is actually all new skin. Like, I cringed so hard my skin fell off.
Wow.
And you know, it's like really expensive. This skin suit, it was very, very expensive, so I had to get a new skin suit today.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah, you don't cheap out like the rest of us. You get the good skin suit.
No.
I definitely don't. This one I got without a belly button. So
Mike does bring up a good point. Is this show about a guy without a belly button, or is this show about a privileged white family who steals kids without clothes on?
Yeah.
Why can't it be both?
Okay, that's fair. It's the new Wonder Years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so B, I'm sorry about that expense. About
you know
your
what?
new skin suit.
It was an emotional journey for sure. I like to say it's about the journey, not the destination. So I will say it was a worthwhile expense in this case.
Okay.
Because
excellent.
as you know, I'm a big fan now. Going to Kyle XY Con, no belly button. I'm gonna cosplay. It's gonna be great.
Did you get the new skin suit? Did you get that one, the one that does have the belly button?
No belly button.
Okay, good. That'll save you on that surgery that I had.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, Dylan, did anything stick out to you about this first episode of Kyle XY?
There's a lot of early 2000s terminology for certain people. Just getting that out there. You know, some short bus comments, some harsher comments. And I'm like, cool. It's the early 2000s. Nobody gets pushed into the pool at the pool party. And I think that is the most inexcusable part of this episode.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't. It wasn't the 1980s.
It's a timeless joke.
Yeah. Hey, look, if you're dancing on a some kind of thing that's over top of a pool, that thing better open up into the pool.
You're confronting a cop next to a swimming pool. That cop better go into the pool.
The cop
I
should
thought
have
he was
gone.
going to.
It's
I was
like the
waiting
same.
for it.
Yeah, it's the same thing when you see like a table with a big bowl of punch, and you're like, oh, somebody's gonna go in that punch soon.
Yeah, that fight with the cop was so cool because when you have a drunk kid fighting a cop and like knocking out his weapons out of his hands, and then the cop is so embarrassed because you know that if you were to knock the weapons out of a cop's hand, the first thing they would do would just be to sheepishly pick up their weapons and then slink away from the party, leaving all of the drunk underage teenagers just there, you know. So the realism in this show is off the hook. I also I did enjoy the realism of when a naked kid who's obviously in trouble and is obviously having problems, the most realistic thing that those cops could have done was put him in handcuffs, throw him in the back of a car, and take him to prison. So I did think that was, that was very realistic. I also like the way.
Well, no, Michael, it's interesting that you brought that up because that happens to be my favorite part of the show also. But the cool thing is that apparently when this show was originally aired, it came out at 8 p.m. on Thursdays. At 9 p.m. on Thursdays was an after show, and it was similar to the Cops reality show, but in the Kyle XY universe, where it would just show cops going in and beating the shit out of naked kids and be like, you have a belly button. You're the wrong kid. And they would throw that kid in the pool. And then slink away with their weapons. So I'm not sure if you happen to catch any of those after shows.
I wasn't sure because we are talking about just mainline Kyle XY. I didn't know if we were going to go off into any of the side shows or the,
well, I mean,
Kyle expanded universe.
Lore's lore, and you're going to XYZ it if you can.
Okay, you're right. Well, then we'll take into account all of the extra content that was thrown out from this.
Extra. I'm sorry.
the other thing that I enjoyed was the fight scene in Juvie, where Kyle gets knocked down and then urinates all over himself. I thought that was very important to show, and it was like a running theme throughout the entire, anytime, because Kyle very rarely gets into any sort of real trouble. So when he gets into trouble and he urinates all over himself, then that the drama is really building up.
And I will say that's one of the things that's missing out of most parkour races in current shows is the lack of just urination. I mean, you're running, on top of roofs for hours on end. You can't Michael, at our age, we can't hold that. Not for hours of parkouring.
No, luckily, my parkour days, when I was in my, late teens to mid 20s, when I did a lot of parkour, I was able to hold my urine. Now, if I try to do it, I can do it for about an hour, but then, I'm going to need one of those Depends undergarments to hold it in, because I don't like to let everybody know that I'm just peeing myself while I'm jumping from roof to roof.
I will say it was very, very smart to have a Depends sponsorship in the show. I think that was a brilliant use of ad revenue, honestly.
I mean, and the other XXs, XY, XX, YY, XYX, and YXY, they all used their Depends. I'm not sure why Kyle just sort of let it flow. I don't know if that was a kink or if that was just his expression, his bodily autonomy. That
he is new to Earth. Vis-a-vis, he's got to work his way through the Depends. Which reminds me, for those people that don't know the current line of Depends, it's pretty absorbent while also being very unsightly. I mean, you can wear your Depends in boxer briefs or even a thong now, and you could literally poop all the time, and it captures it all in these tiny little blue beads. So for those out there that don't know about Depends, please check out not only because of this week's sponsor, but god damn it, it's a good product.
Zach, you're supposed to say that you can't see them. Unsightly is actually on the list. I have the document pulled up right now, and you're not supposed to say that they're unsightly.
Unseeable.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Invisible?
Just slightly.
Yes. All right. There. Don't not pay us, Depends. So
Michael Colby and I are sponsored by Depends, everyone. If you don't know about their elite line of Depends, Depends Diamonds. Because not only is Diamond a woman's best friend, it's also me and Michael Colby's when it's in our diapers.
Yes.
Get your Depends at any CVS or local Walgreens.
That is the first episode. Now, this last episode is so packed with lore and preparation and surprise twists and amazing reveals. I don't even know where to start. I have a couple written down that I thought were the important ones, but I am going to let you guys, let me know what you think was the most important part of this last episode. Dylan, I'm going to start with you.
I think the most important and impressive reveal was literally the last line of the entire show, before it, of course, concluded in a satisfactory way, where Cassidy is like, we have the same biological mother. I'm your brother. And then it cuts to black, and never to be renewed. So many questions, answers.
That is one of the things that I had written down, obviously. That is a big reveal. Now, if you take context from the rest of the series, I think you can extrapolate what happens after this. But you have to be paying attention. I didn't see some of these clues until my 7th or 8th watching. But it's one of those shows that the more you watch it, the deeper it gets. The lore, the character depth is so amazing. So yeah, the brother thing, obviously the big one. B, did you have something that really stuck out to you in this last episode?
So I think what really stuck out to me, obviously by the nickname that I chose here, I was really inspired by the love triangle that they had apparently going on that is basically revealed in this last episode. And I really, really liked how like the edgy girl who's kind of bad was all in black and had like dark hair, and like the girl who's obviously the good girl was like blonde and like in pink. It was just really, really, really subtle. You know, it was incredibly subtle, and I appreciated that. I really love their like dynamic, the cattiness, because we've definitely never seen that before with two women at each other's throats like that.
Over a man.
Over a man.
It's something that never happens in TV shows.
Never at all. It was honestly revolutionary.
Yeah. That was okay. We'll get back to the love triangles a little bit later in the episode.
I loved it.
Alternative universe Zach Wiseman. I had 3 major points down about this last episode. B and Dylan got 2 of them. Can you make it the trifecta?
Well, I'll tell you, I have 2 scenes in mind. And earlier, when you said that this episode was jam-packed, you're right. This episode would need Depends bed protectors, which you can get the 12-pack at your local Costco or Sam's Club. 12 packs going only for $12.99 bed protectors. The thing about Kyle XY, though, I think the part that stood out to me the most, it's like, yeah, I get it. You still don't have a belly button. Stop bragging. But when the belly button came back to actually be the grandfather, I thought that was stunning, because I was like, oh, at first I thought, okay, you're just born without a belly button. No, the belly button divorced him and then was waiting for him to get famous enough on, the CW channel that he was going to sue him the same way that like Justin Bieber or other famous kids happened. So I thought that was pretty impressive. But from an artistic standpoint, the shot-for-shot remake of the end of Romeo plus Juliet in this love trifecta, I would say chef's kiss if it wasn't an overused term. So I'll just do it.
Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, you totally nailed it. Those were the 3 things that I had written down. Plus, well, the 3 that you guys got, plus the that last thing that you said, that was obviously in my mind, but I didn't write that one down. I also the thing about the show is they took this idea that they needed to stop these clones from being made. So in order to stop this, they had to load up these pods with this special kind of bacteria. But where are you going to get this bacteria? It's so hard to find. The fact that they've set up from the beginning of the show that the brother is a slob, and that he would, in that first episode, you saw the cup on his desk, and then on that last episode it came into play. That's how much foresight this show has. As far as stretching out, they had this whole thing written down so that they knew exactly what they were doing from beginning to end. And yeah, I just thought it was amazing. The sexualization of the teenagers was all, definitely needed for the show. And again, we'll get back to the sexualization. I was hoping to wait until Dylan came back before we started to get into the real meat of this series. But I'm going to start my first question. Hopefully by the time Dylan comes back, we can get him in on this conversation. Now, my first question was Kyle XY obviously missing his belly button, but he's missing a few other parts as well. So I was just wondering what you would like, which parts of his that are missing that you would either like to be missing from yourself, or what brought the most characterization of Kyle from his missing body parts. B, I'm gonna start with you.
So I'm actually going to kind of like twist this a little bit. It's not something that he was missing. It's something that he had an extra one of. And of course, I'm talking about his pinky toe. I really wish that I had 2 pinky toes, just so I can like fill out my shoes and be just a little bit more uncomfortable. It's a kink of mine. Don't question me. I'm just saying I would love to have an extra pinky toe. And I'm a little jealous that he got to have one.
Yeah, and it's so weird that he had all of those extra toes on the one foot, and then the other foot, the toes weren't separated at all. It was just like a.
It was like yeah.
It
was kind of cool.
I bet you that would be quite uncomfortable as well, especially if you were going to try to wear like flip-flops or something.
Oh my god, yes. No, I think stop.
So much balance with the
I'm
extra
gonna need
pinky
to like
toes.
I'm gonna need to like walk away from
Okay, well, as you can see from some of our panel members, we can just walk away at any point.
I apologize. There were carolers outside, and they wanted to be tipped.
This is our Christmas
carolers.
episode.
They're
Well,
always
it is a
out.
holiday. We are recording this on
Easter carolers.
April 20th, which is relevant to the show. I'm sorry. Did we talk about the big reveal?
No,
Not yet.
that's last. That's
Okay,
last.
cool.
Right now, we're talking about Kyle's extra and or missing body parts.
Okay.
Besides his belly button, which one do you think lends the most characterization to Kyle from the body parts themselves? And I'm actually going to let you go next, Dylan. I know you've been thinking about it. All you talk about in our text chains is Kyle's extra body parts.
It's the taste buds in the colon.
Yeah, why do you have so many colons?
I mean, what a punishment. What a deserved punishment to have. And I mean, talk about characterization. No wonder he only speaks in narration.
Yeah, and he that also explains, they do talk about the taste buds in his colon a little bit later. That's about mid-second season. But then when you think about it, that really explains that look on his face that he always has. He always just looks like he's tasting whatever's in his colon. Now, Zach, do you have a missing or extra body part that you were especially intrigued by?
Yeah, I like that, Kyle XY, he fashioned his human body over the cover of a magazine the same way that the villain did in Men in Black 2. So obviously he doesn't know the humans would have the belly button. What he also didn't know the humans had was a knee pit. And the fact that he doesn't have a knee pit not only baffled me scientifically, but also thrilled me sexually. I hate the knee pit. I can't stand it. I don't like when people look at it. I don't like when people touch it. I don't like the night sweats that I have in the pit of my knee. I don't like any part of it. Sometimes I get so sweaty at nighttime that I would probably need some Depends Night Defense underwear. Should have read this one first before I brought it up. Depends. Sleep through the night with confidence and the trusted protection of the new Depends Night Defense, specifically designed for nighttime use in the knee pit. If you go to Depends.com and type in some nobodies, you get 10% off your next order. Depends. But yeah, the knee pit is probably my favorite of everything missing.
Yes, the fact that he is missing his knee pit because he has the knee on the other side. He doesn't really use he doesn't really use the fact that he can bend his knees both ways, but you know it's there. Like in the second season when he is mostly just wearing cargo shorts, you can really see he's just wearing the tank top and the cargo shorts. Very early 2000s.
It's just nice to know that he has that option.
Yes. So we also find out pretty early in the series that Kyle XY is in fact a Force user. They have very few actual Star Wars. There's a lot of references to the actual Star Wars canon, but we have very few Star Wars cameos of the actual Star Wars characters. But we did have a couple. I know I have a personal favorite, but I'm not going to reveal that just in case. I don't want to take it away from you guys. I'm such a huge fan of Kyle XY that I feel bad talking about it because I could just go on and on forever. So I'm going to let you guys pick your favorite Star Wars cameos, or just references to the world, or one of the episodes where they visit a Star Wars location. B, we're going to start with you.
Perfect. So one of my favorite scenes is when Carrie Fisher made a cameo. It was like literally about like a 30-second cameo. She just showed up, flipped off the camera, and just walked away. It was genius. It was so her, and it immediately made me think of like Star Wars and how this tied into that universe. I think it was absolutely brilliant, and it was my favorite.
Yeah,
I think she was an absolute star.
The best. Possibly the best movie star we've ever had.
Easily. She showed up just covered in glitter, ready to flip off a TV camera. It was beautiful.
And just
I don't even think she was like actually meant to be on the show. I think I like read somewhere that she literally just showed up to filming that day.
And she's a huge fan actually of seasons 1.
Yeah, and of course, if Carrie Fisher shows up to your set, you're gonna let her be in the thing.
Absolutely.
It's just amazing. She wasn't dressed up, she didn't have any Star Wars stuff on, she wasn't wearing the buns, but you knew that she was Princess Leia in that moment.
Absolutely.
It was beautiful. How about you, Zach? I know you're a big fan of Star Wars. I think you said that Kyle XY was your favorite part of Star Wars.
It's quickly becoming. The thing is, like every couple of years, I forget that Kyle XY exists, especially when I'm rewatching all the animated episodes of the Clone Wars until this show. The one thing that really stood out to me that I guess I just kind of glazed over in my first watching of this was his trouble. So, they have the dual storylines going on where the family's going through something, and then also Kyle XY is going through something, but it's like the alien version of it. I thought it was pretty interesting that on tax day, Kyle XY got a video call from Newt Gunray talking about tax federation and trade routes. And I'm like, could this show get more racist? And the answer is yeah. As a matter of fact, with one quick phone call, it gets very, very racist and also very boring. Because kids these days, I don't think they care about tax trade federations and routes and hit this and that. So, but I was impressed that they did get the exact same mask that was used in, Phantom Menace to do this, which is, I guess, a superfluous like pay thing, but whatever.
I guess I would have preferred if they didn't just put the mask on a fat guy wearing a tank top. There's a lot of tank tops in this show.
There are.
Yeah, I mean, sun's out most time for Kyle XY, so guns gotta be out, I think.
Now, Dylan, I see you have an Ewok there with you.
Yes.
What was your favorite Star Wars cameo on Kyle XY?
It was kind of a blink and you miss it reference in the second season, which is really weird because I think this ran in 2006?
Yep.
This is the early 2000s.
Yep.
Well, they were very
2009 was the last episode. 2006 was the first.
okay. They were very clearly looking forward to the sequel trilogy because after Kyle leaves the bathroom during the constipation episode, he like coughs a little bit and he goes, "Man, tastes like I just made an episode 9 in there."
That was
They knew. They knew.
Yeah,
Well, Lucas said he had all of those movies written out. So,
yes, and you can very clearly tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a very logical progression in those last 3 movies.
Yes.
Certainly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was a big fan of when IG-88 came to try to. That was, I mean, throughout the whole season, you would see him out the window, in the suburbs. Nobody seemed to notice that a robot with a gun was stalking around that house, but it also didn't seem to matter all that much. I just like to see one of my favorite expanded universe characters, star of several books.
Non-canon anymore.
Non-canon anymore. Yeah, but also Kyle XY, he's the Star Wars expanded universe is now part of the Kyle XY expanded universe, which is still considered canon in the Star Wars universe. So ergo the Star Wars expanded universe is still part of the Star Wars universe, as we all know. Now there was we talked about the love triangles a little bit earlier. There were several love triangles. They didn't all involve Kyle XY. Most of them do. But I didn't want to keep it to Kyle's love triangles. I was wondering what everyone's because there's just so many of them. For 3 seasons of television, the amount of love triangles was baffling to me. It was, I know it's a lot of people's favorite parts of Kyle XY is all the love triangles, but I think it weighs it down maybe a little bit. Of course, you love triangles.
I love my love triangles. Yes, I do.
So what was your favorite besides you and Kyle?
I am my self-ship with a teenage boy. Definitely not problematic. No, my favorite was actually Kyle's adopted mom was in a love triangle after the divorce with her husband, and then he like immediately dies in battle, right? It was just this really tragic event. Anyway, it's when it's when like she hooks up with that guy that like took Kyle in like the institution. Do you know who I'm talking about? I forget his name. She hooks up with him, and then almost immediately after, the mailman comes, right? And she's like, "Oh man, I gotta get me some of that." And the mailman is played by Jack Black, who I absolutely adore.
I should have known.
I absolutely. I loved it so much. There was so much drama, so much angst, and then when they like fought to the death on the front lawn. Oh my god! And we never found out who won. It was like a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
just one of many, but it worked.
And it was a real departure for Jack to do, because there was nothing funny about that role.
He did all of his own stunts too. Did you know that? I was so impressed. Most of it was like him like rolling around on the ground, but like it was still kind of hot.
Yeah, and it wasn't the normal like fat guy Chris Farley rolling around on the ground. It was skill. I mean, he had to take it very seriously because he's a huge Star Wars fan, and he said, if I'm going to be in a Star Wars thing and be in a battle, I'm gonna have to do all the training.
Oh, absolutely. He reminded me a lot of oh god, I'm forgetting his name. The guy that played Anakin. It doesn't matter. He reminded
John
me
Wilkes Booth.
Ed Begley Jr.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh,
he reminded me of him so much. He was like even wearing like his his costume. You know, at the end of episode 3,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when he like burns to death,
Mm-hmm.
was great.
Looks good.
Yeah,
He's
it
hot.
looks good on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you guys stole mine because mine is the brother Josh when he has the love triangle with John Wilkes Booth and Ed Begley Jr. I am assuming that was what you guys were thinking of, but Ed Begley Jr. for such a doughy, pasty,
very round,
just so doughy and pasty. When he takes off that shirt and like, I wasn't quite sure because the underwear, like the tighty whities and his skin are kind of the same color. So I wasn't sure if that was, you know, actual nudity or not. But yeah, really, just really sexy when that happened, and them rolling around, and the fact that, you know, what I'm not going to say it because this isn't an X-rated podcast, but the stuff that Ed Begley Jr. adds to
stole my joke.
Oh boy.
The stuff that Ed Begley Jr. adds to the cup on Josh's desk that ends up being the bacterial solution at the end of the thing. Yeah, it really, yeah, it was really beautiful. So, Zach, your favorite love triangle?
There's a lot of love triangles, a lot of favorites. But I'm gonna have to go to a specific scene instead of a favorite triangle, because this whole thing is about triangles. This is like Friends if they all hooked up a lot more. But what I liked the most was when Jesse was playing dead, and like, you know, Amanda's trying to help out, but then Nate is like, "Hey, Amanda, this dead body is pretty sexy, right?" And even though like Jesse's only playing dead, they still kind of get into it a little bit. And it's like, wait, are you guys gonna do necrophilia? And then also, is it necrophilia because Jesse's not dead? And then Kyle comes in, but he does it like real sneakily, like, so he just allows them to kind of fornicate on top of this not dead body. And the weird thing, like when he brings up that old Panasonic like videotape, and it kind of gives me that like American Beauty feel. I think that was in my opinion, a triangle triumph right there.
Agreed. It's not technically, but it does end up being Nate's thing.
Yeah.
Throughout the rest of the series, where he just lays there, pretending to be dead and just lets people do it. Like even his parents. There is a scene where his parents just do it on top of his corpse. That one gets a little bit more saucy than I'm used to in this type of show, but
on ABC Family,
off guard.
Yeah, I mean, the crying was one thing, but luckily they were all using long-lasting dryness Depends that come in a 32 count for maximum absorbency. That really helped with the tears and the downward leaking.
Yes, I also need to know because we did tell Mike where he could get the 10% discount. So I am going to need to know if he did in fact poop his pants. So if you could please, before the end of the show, let us know if you did poop your pants.
And if you do need any Depends, I have a stockpile. So just drop me a pin and I'll come right over with some long-lasting dryness Depends. They come in a 32 count. They're for small to medium men.
Now, Dylan, I'm going to let you round this out with the love triangles.
I really like the foreshadowing in the love triangle between Kyle XY, Willie Nelson, and the anthropomorphic joint. Considering the reveal we get in the third season about Kyle's origins, it's really interesting to see them kind of like play fast and loose with the. I mean, they did it with the necrophilia stuff, but they're playing fast and loose with the borders of what's acceptable. And to have like semi-incest and then also necrophilia in the same series on ABC Family. It's really impressive. And the fact that they got Willie Nelson, like he was semi-retired at the time. That's something.
But I mean, as we all know, cultural touchstone. All they needed to do, all of these celebrity cameos that they had, all they had to do was they didn't even have to like call the agents. You know, they had so many celebrities calling and asking to be on the show. All they had to do was pick out the ones that they wanted. Now I just have two more questions. Going back to XY Con, so many people are going to be there from the show. They're going to be recreating episodes. They're going to be auctioning off props that were used in the show. What's the thing that you're the most excited for when we meet at XY Con in Atlanta in a couple of months? B.
Okay, now that like Dylan reminded me of it, I'm actually the most excited to meet the holy shit.
It's a hard word.
Anthropomorphic joint.
Yes.
I cannot wait. Oh my god. And like it's like it's like a puppet, right? Like there's like I want to meet the puppeteer so bad, and I want him to sign my replica of the joint. I'm so excited. And also like I heard that they're gonna like auction off the actor's actual belly button. Like that they have removed. Yeah, no, seriously. Like the actor's actual belly button. So I'm taking my entire life savings into this because I need that belly button.
Yeah, I'm hoping my life savings is a little bit more because I really do want that jar. It's, you know, they put it in a Gerber baby food jar with formaldehyde, but the presentation isn't what matters. It's what's inside.
Exactly.
That's the real prize. Or we'll talk about it afterwards. Maybe we can, you know, all put our money together and then
that's an idea.
Yeah, we'll
We
rotate.
can have like custody, like you know, a custody agreement for sure.
And your replica of the anthropomorphic joint, is that the life-size one or is that the 1/6
It is
scale
absolutely. It is absolutely the It's the one. It's the life-size one. It's like.
It's like 13 feet tall.
It is. Oh my god! I can't
really
even
big.
keep it in my room. Like I have a whole room specifically for it. I honestly not sure how I'm gonna get it to the con. I'll figure it out. I think I'm gonna.
We'll get a Penske
hall specifically.
You can probably get a group of XY heads to just carry it down by hand. Just march it down. You get 6 or 7. They'll be fine to get it down there.
You know what?
And
I'll make a post on the Facebook page.
Yeah, you're a big enough celebrity that we can have people get that done for you.
Absolutely.
Let's just get 8 or 9 of them, just in case a couple of them die of exhaustion while they're on their way down there.
Absolutely, it has to be prepared.
Yeah, it has to get down there. You're right. Dylan, what are you most excited for at XY Con?
They're going to do. I don't know if you guys saw. They're selling tickets for the guillotine reenactment, where you can be the guillotine.
Oh my god!
I know, right? It's a little expensive, but yeah, that stuff always finds a way in. Yeah, the guillotine stuff, I'm into it. It's so difficult to stay formaldehyde free your entire life. That's true.
Just give in. Just don't worry about it, Blue Shoes.
Yeah, it's really not worth avoiding.
Yeah, do the formaldehyde. Just give
fine.
in.
Yeah.
I do think after the show we need to coordinate someone to wait in line because the line for that is going to be really, really long.
Now, Zach, can you have nothing else going on? You can wait in line for our tickets, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
good, perfect.
Cool.
Now, what are you most excited for once we do get into the con?
Yeah, it's ironic that you mentioned that Gerber baby bottle from earlier, because that is the thing I was most excited, because in the episode where the ghost of Latnock, the original of the society members, the original Latnock, it was the episode where he gets into Jesse's body the same way as in the movie Ghost, as she's playing dead, and then they kind of sculpt the Gerber baby bottle, but instead of like pottery, they use hot glass. But because Kyle XY obviously has healing powers, they continually healing the burns. So it's this thing where it's like, I know this burns, but I'm kind of in love, but also this is an ancient alien. This is super jazzy. And then what happens at the end? Baby bottle. So I'm excited to see the I guess the actual prop of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think they are going to reenact that scene where they make it, and they're actually going to heal the burns in real time. That should be very good. Now, this show ended in 2009, and since then, the popularity of it's been growing. The con's been getting bigger and bigger. It started off in a Sheraton. It started off in a Sheraton ballroom, and now it's in the sports arena down in Atlanta because so many people show up to it. So I don't think that the networks are going to be able to ignore the fans of Kyle XY anymore and not make more seasons. So my question is, what do you want to see in the future for Kyle XY? It's going to have been a while, probably 15 years since the last episode by the time that it comes out. So are we thinking get the same cast and do a 15 years later thing? Or are we thinking recast? We're going to need to find an actor as fine as Kyle, which I don't know if we're going to be able to do. But I'm torn, so I want you guys to set me on a path if I want the original cast doing a 15 years later, or recast it and do an immediately afterwards, because I sort of want to know what happens right after it's revealed that Darjan is Kyle's brother. But I also I need that original cast as well. B.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking, right? All right, and hear me out, okay? We don't do either of those things, right? We just skip ahead to the future, and it's like the next generation. Like everyone's had kids with each other, and it's just about their kids, and we only focus on their kids and like what they're up to. And what actually happened is just kind of told by them to the camera through very long, dry dialogue sequences. And they're just, it's kind of like how Kyle had like that inner monologue, except it's not inner, it's literally just them telling you the story.
Oh, it's just them telling the story.
It's literally just telling, like they're sitting on the couch and just telling you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fire in the back, like a fireplace going in the background, holding a snifter or a brandy.
Maybe it's Christmas. Maybe the Christmas tree is out. Maybe there's presents under the tree. Maybe this is them telling their kids the story of Grandpa Kyle. I'm just spitballing here. I'm just throwing it out here, but like
loving it.
I'm just saying, like, hire me for writing your show.
Yeah, I do love that. Netflix. Let's get some more Kyle XY. Get B some money.
Reach out to me.
They
Pay
can,
me.
Yeah, I mean that's a brilliant idea. Zach Weisman from Another Universe.
Yeah. So I'm a fan of lore, as everybody knows. So like I said, when Kyle's belly button came back to him, being his grandfather that's been estranged for years, it seemed that he was laying the groundwork for what was a prison heist. It seemed like, which got him to where Kyle was. So I would like to see, similar to a Rosencrantz Guildenstern, parallel to what the Kyle XY was, and using de-aging technology. Obviously, we can still keep whatever his name is, Kyle's real. What's his real name? Kyle. Kyle XY. What's his real name? Kendall.
It's pronounced Kylexi.
Kylexi.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We're going to keep him playing the same character, de-aged slightly, but mostly a prison break on how a belly button gets out of a space gulag.
Oh man.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm starting to have an idea. Let's get what Dylan's idea is for the future of Kyle XY.
I mean, I want the follow through on the reveal at the end, because we got the cliffhanger, we got all the stuff leading up to it. We got the Willie Nelson stuff, the 420 stuff. They mentioned weed in the last episode. They're like trying to find it, messing with the nutrients, and I'm waiting for like everybody's reaction to learn like what it means when they find out Kyle is like a human marijuana hybrid. I mean, it's an idea. It's something. They were very clearly leading up to something. And you know, you had you had Zwei, you had your German 3, and then you had Dry, but they pronounced it Dre. So
I forgot about him.
Yeah, they were well. They never showed him on screen, and I mean, so you know, like see them snoop around. You know, you got that dog coming back. See how that winds up.
Yes. All right. Now, what I'm thinking is, again, such a big fan base for this. Let's get B a Netflix special of the kids, a Netflix series. I'm sorry, we don't want to just do a special.
Everyone is always curious about what their kids are doing. You know, we saw it in Harry Potter. Definitely, everyone needed that. What was it, like 12 years later or whatever? You know, it just, I mean, we saw it in like Star Wars, like what the next generation was doing. Everyone really wanted to know about that. So I think it would work for Kyle XY.
Yeah, we got it with Mortal Kombat 10 as well.
Yeah, exactly.
With the combat kids. Let's get alternate universe Zach a Hulu series to tell the story of the prison break and the grandfather belly button, and we'll get Dylan an Amazon series on just the continuation of the actual story. I will take the Pluto TV series where we do the 15 years later. And I mean, because the amount of love that we all have for this show, I'm sure that we would be able to, you know, extract everything out of it. There's enough to go around 4 series around Kyle XY. There's nothing generic about this show. There's nothing predictable. There's nothing there's nothing like overly convenient in the show. It's all so lovingly prepared, and you can really tell that love went into it. And the fact that the network canceled it out of spite because it was too successful, it baffles me. But I think it's been long enough that we can bring it back, and we can give it the love that it so obviously got in its first run.
Well, I think we can all tell with how the 3rd season was going, with all the weird like protesting and political things they were kind of getting into. There was that 3-episode arc where they were very clearly against dairy, and I could tell that Big Dairy had something, you know, with the shutdown. So I think it was all the episodes where they were taking a firm stand against Big Somebody. Mine being, you know, Big Dairy, though. But you could tell that that's why it ended on cliffhanger, because like Big Dairy and their friends were like, Kyle XY is making too many waves, milk waves. They got
I think the dairy. I think Big Dairy was the straw that broke the camel's back. But we did have, you know, they were talking about OPEC, you know, they had all the OPEC stuff. they had the big pharma stuff. They had the, they had the big school supply. They were really talking about, the pencil shortages and, the fact that the paintbrushes were made of synthetic materials now, and they stopped using the horsehair, and they're just not as good anymore. So I think they just pissed off too many people.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle XY, his ability to erase pain really got big rubber up against him. It was like, nope, erasers do that. You can't have that. And it was a downhill from the beginning of season 3.
Yeah. I mean, who could have seen them hiding the wax in the crayons? Yeah.
It was too, they just pushed too many buttons of too many big, powerful opponents. And, you just can't do that. You just can't do that. The show is too powerful to stay on the air.
You know what? It was definitely before its time, I think. Yeah.
But I think that time is now. I think agree. to get Kyle XY back in all of its glory, in all the power that it could have had, if it wouldn't have made so many, so many powerful opponents back in the day.
Yeah, I agree. I'm actually going to start a petition to try and get it back on the air. So go to my Instagram, Kyle's Used Depends. And a link to the petition is on there. Give me a follow. It's all Kyle XY fan art, featuring Depends, drawn by me.
Oh yeah,
the pencil,
very
so
very
give it a follow.
talented.
Yeah,
very talented.
Yeah, I know.
And there's so little leaking because Depends are so great at keeping in the leaks.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think that's going to do it. I mean, we could obviously go on talking about Kyle XY for hours.
Yeah.
I mean, but we are not Joe Rogan. We're not going to make you listen to us talk for 4 hours. We're going to limit this to 1 hour. So we are going to have a show again in 2 weeks, and we're going to be talking about another show. And what is that show going to be?
Now the idea of Thundercats was thrown out there, and my only qualm with that is that when we do good shows,
it's too good. Yeah,
it's too good. I think Thundercats might be too good of a show.
Okay,
so
how about this? How about we do the 2011 Thundercats remake?
Okay, I'm okay with that.
What is that on?
That's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, the remake show, which is not terrible, but also not very good. 2011 Thundercats. You can find on Netflix, and we'll try to not find time to binge that.
Yeah, watch it along with us, but just the first episode and the last episode, and then see if you can come up with something as funny as we can about it.
If you can, come on the show and prove it.
Please.
Yeah, prove it. Come on the show and prove it. I don't think you can.
We dare you.
They're hardcore trying to push me out, so you can take my spot pretty easy.
Zach pushes too many buttons. He's too provocative.
Well, Zach, since this is going to be your last episode,
he's going to make us lose that Depends sponsorship.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even though we are going to kick you off of this show, we're going to give you an opportunity this one last time to promote all of the things that you're a part of.
Yeah. So you could find me on Twitter at KyleXYNot, where I keep going into why the show works, even though people say that it doesn't. But if you want to find something real that I do, you can always look at somenobodies.com or Some Nobodies on Vimeo, or Some Nobodies on our SoundCloud, or Some Nobodies on Yelp, where we do roast weddings, and that is a real thing.
Yes.
We'll come, and Dylan and I are both ordained ministers.
If you're in the Denver metro area, we will come do your wedding.
We do weddings, but they're non-denominational, and we only roast your entire cast of wedding players. But we do that. Honestly, open up anything, your electronic toaster, an old pager, your smart shoe, and type in Some Nobodies, and you'll find the trash that we put out there.
All right. And Dylan, you're...
I help produce the garbage stream that Zach puts on the internet. The award-winning garbage stream. It is endless trash. You can find our YouTube at Some Nobodies. That's blowing up. You can find our Twitter at Some Nobodies. We're there. You can find our Instagram at Some Nobodies. I like most of the posts.
Come on, man. It's like five posts every single day.
That's a lot.
I like most of the posts.
They're pretty good.
You literally sent me one in the last year.
have.
To
You're
post.
right.
And it has got the most likes. That's fair. So whatever.
And then Silicon Angels twitching upstream, talking upstream, CYOP Appeal. We've got another season of that being written right now. And I'm at Vorpal_words on everything.
Mm-hmm.
I also contribute to the garbage that is the modern day internet.
It's true. He puts out a lot of stuff on Twitter with hashtags. I'm like, I don't know what any of this means, but people like it.
139 of my characters go to hashtags. They say the more hashtags, the better. I don't know.
They don't say that.
Someone does.
Where can people find you?
Me? Oh,
Yeah.
Stop. So as mentioned before, you can follow my Instagram at Kyle's Use Depends. You can also follow my Twitter at KyleXYZ. And you can also find me at my other show, Deep Lore, and is this podcast a JoJo reference?
Beautiful.
That's
Are you sure that you didn't fill that wine bottle up with Bailey's?
I'm not altogether sure anymore, to be honest.
And I am, of course, Michael Colby. You can find me on Twitter at my neighbor MICH1, on Instagram at Jack Billings Presents. Yeah, and that's, I post stuff about all of my shows on there. Jack Billings Presents, Haunted Apartment Complex, Generation Clash, I Love This Terrible Game. I think there's another one in there, and then PowerPoint presentation, and
not what it's called.
It's got a different name. This season's got a different name.
PowerPoint Showdown.
It's okay. Zach got it wrong last week.
Yeah, it's a weird one, but it's very fun, and B is going to be on that very soon.
Oh yeah.
If you can't get enough of B, they are going to be on PowerPoint Showdown within weeks of when you're hearing this.
Excellent.
Probably by the end of the world.
Hopefully by the end of the world.
No, dude, if the world's ending, I'm uploading everything.
Rather than later, who knows?
If I get any word that the world's ending, I'm uploading everything. Everything goes up.
Right.
Yeah,
immediately.
for sure.
I am not letting my evenings go to waste here. Okay.
Don't worry. The Society of Octopodes that evolves on the land in a million years is going to find all this.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And they should be impressed at our YouTube subscriber count.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen, as long as they dig up my corpse and deify it, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, one of us is going to do it, so it just whoever gets to that grave first.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this seems like the end of the show. So, Dylan, why don't you?
So I relied on phrases I memorized at the children's home.
Yo,
And now for something completely different.
everyone taking stupid pills around here?
What I do is I look a woman up and down and I say,
I'm coming to join you, bitch.
Oh, is that too far?
Oh, you want to get into things?
Well, I mean...
No. Let's get into things. Let's get real. Everybody, BoJack wants to get real. Cancel the bubble round, because we're getting real.
What's even worse?
Something worse?
Men want women to lie to them too.
We do?
Yes, because if we dare tell you the truth, if we tried to express how we were truly feeling, men freak out. You'd rather we just keep on lying to you so you don't have to, commit?
I don't understand.
Well, that makes two of us.